Clayton Culp is the athletic coordinator for Anne Arundel County Public Schools. What can you tell us, sir, about the sports practices on the field and if we have made any changes?
Jane, we have a set of guidelines that we updated 3 years ago to reflect how we manage any situation, whether it's a practice, a scrimmage, or a game. Restrictions and guidelines based on heat index. We do all of our calculations on heat index. And we have essentially 4 categories: green, yellow, orange, and red, based on heat index, and each category has a different set of restrictions that go with it. In some situations, the county will make a decision and implement sort of a county-wide, we're all in green right now or we're all in yellow right now. In addition to that, any school at any time in their facility can add to those restrictions, if that makes sense. So it may be that we issue a code green, but that a particular school, their turf field, the heat index is, much higher, and they go to a code yellow or a code orange or even a code red.
So does the turf field, because of the material, that heats up the entire surface area for the practice?
Turf fields tend to get hotter faster than grass fields. So you'll see that a lot at different high school sites where, you may see teams practicing on a hot day, but you may purposely see them not on their turf field. There's another part of this, which is that every site is different, every facility is different. If you have a turf field that's in a raised area where you tend to get a lot of crosswind, or that's more shaded than a different school might have, so it's not consistent everywhere, but generally speaking, turf fields do get hotter faster than our other spaces.
Do we have turf fields at almost all county high schools now?
Yes, we do, Jane. Every high school has a turf field, and many of them have 2 or even 3 turf fields at this point.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Another question, as far as the temperature reading and how you monitor, in Virginia, they cite using a bulb-type thermometer where they can include the humidity levels, ambient air temperature, and winds in their guidelines for, determining what the actual temperature feel like is. Is that the type of thing you all use?
Yeah, ours is similar. We have a heat index tool. Essentially, heat index is based on humidity and temperature, and that's kind of what we focus on. In our handbook, we have an athletics handbook specifically for the county, and it's one of the pages this time of year that athletic directors and trainers go to the most. It's page 72 in our handbook, and it outlines exactly what happens in those different ranges of heat. So as an example, code yellow, if you have a heat index between 95 and 99, we have a set of restrictions that would go for code yellow. And today I've already put in place a code yellow for all of us around the county between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. But to answer your question, yeah, there's a tool that we've provided every school that's a heat index gauge, and it's based on, our tool in particular is based on temperature and humidity.
People have talked about the access for the players to take breaks, have drinks, sports drinks, water, etc. I'm sure that that's all covered in normal hydration, but I just want to confirm that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we would never, regardless of the temperature, the sport, the school, we would never condone any kind of practice where water is, not available. Water should be available to any student athlete at any time, regardless of what sport they're playing, what school they're at, what the circumstance is, whether it's a hot day, a cold day, whether it's August or November or February. It doesn't make any difference regarding that. But we do have part of these restrictions that are that I mentioned as an example. In our code yellow category, part of what we mandate is that every 30 minutes the entire team gets a 10-minute water break. So as I mentioned today, we're going to be in a code yellow for the bulk of the day, and no matter what sport we're talking about or the situation, everybody's got to stop for 10 minutes every 30 minutes to allow hydration. But also, to even more clarify that point, as I mentioned, at any point in time, any student athlete that needs water should be given that access, and that's just part of ingrained. That's ingrained in our culture at this point. 20 or 30 years ago, water may have been used as a motivation tool, but that's not the case anymore.
More common sense prevails, I guess, sir. That's good news.
Yes, you would hope so.
And the rest periods are also frequent during this extreme, conditioning?
Yeah, there's a variety of things that go into place there. Reducing outside activity in general, allowing athletes to take off equipment when they're not actively using it. To the extent possible, we encourage programs to put their practices early in the morning on days like today or late in the evening, those sorts of things. But The mandatory water breaks is a big part of it. Rest periods, and those other things that I mentioned are all built into our heat restrictions and accommodations that we put out.
Sounds like our student athletes will have a successful season on practice field and beyond. Thank you, sir. This is great information. Clayton Culp, coordinator for the athletics department in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, with us on 1430 WNAV.